Hey, I'm Pops, and let's talk about Me Time, Netflix's Kevin Hart, Mark Wahlberg comedy. All right, I'm being a little too hard. There are some gags, there are some moments. But yeah, this was actually number one on Netflix in the US at one point, which is crazy to think about after watching this movie. Um, yeah, let's do it. So, Netflix has sort of a track record of making sort of very meh movies. Like they're just okay, right? This goes back to the whole philosophy of streaming services, basically just creating content to be consumed, and the quality falls off. These are the slacker projects. These are the subpar scripts. These are the creators, and so it's like the business. But then again, when you look at the stuff that's being generated in the business, you don't understand because it's even worse. But all right, Me Time. So it centers pretty much around Kevin Hart. Unlike many other movies with Daddy's Home. Daddy's Home's a great example with Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell because they both have story arcs. Their other characters have some story arcs. They're more of like co-stars. Here, Mark Wahlberg is very much into the background. These two are child friends, and Mark Wahlberg's character Hux is all about his birthday celebration and doing crazy things. It opens with like some crazy stunt where they jump out of an airplane and they have, I don't know what these things are called. What's it called? Where they're like the suit and it's like, I don't know. It just seems like it's way more challenging and difficult than a regular parachute jump is. But reality is they're able to stay in the air longer. And it malfunctions. Kevin Hart's doing his scream. They pull the ripcord. Anyway, long story short, we fast forward to today, and Hart is he plays Sonny Fisher. Sonny Fisher is basically a boy dad, runs a household. His son and he are at odds because his son is obsessed with comedians. Makes a lot of name drops, by the way, like Eddie Murphy and Tiffany Haddish. Huck calls from Tijuana talking about donkey shows, makes a penis joke because it's really funny, isn't it? To see this poor little girl with her, shocked face. Yeah, Huck is supposed to, so we also have to mix in like the physical comedy too. So Huck falls down in like turtle poop because they have a turtle in the house. Yeah, turtle's just walking around, not actually in an aquarium. He's actually just walking around the kitchen. Yeah. The kids are kind of like what you'd expect if you have this sort of like coddling, weird approach to parenting. Mom is the breadwinner. Hi, go, go, go. She isn't really paying attention to them, doesn't really know what's going on much in their lives. The kids are kind of bratty in that regard then because he's all Mr. Stoy Boy. So they don't really take him seriously. He's talking about the PTA. He's talking about the working the talent show, and he's lecturing some other crazy driver and all this other nonsense. So, yeah, I don't know. They're literally at some sort of special gatherings because Huck doesn't want to. Sonny doesn't want to go, but Maya is the wife does, and that's where he gets his real good introduction to Armando, who's this extremely wealthy sort of entrepreneur. He puts his hand on his wife's shoulder, so he's all Mr. Jealous and insecure, And the line, it's like we get it, right? It just keeps going and going and going. Actually, there's a line there where they're talking about their careers because she's making all this money as the architect. He stays at home, and there's a comment about them being a very progressive relationship. So if you didn't get it after this, so many, I don't know, 10, 15, I don't know how long we are in, we're just going to tell you, oh, by the way, they're in a progressive relationship. Just so you know how bad the writing is, that if you weren't paying attention and you didn't think any of this was funny or you didn't quite get what they were going for, just so you know, the character will tell you it's progressive. That's what I mean when I talk about how bad the writing is. It's like, you're so dumb, you didn't get all this stuff about he's the stay-at-home dad stuff, right? All right, fair enough. Let's move on. And she's Mrs. Passive Aggressive and wants Armando and quality time with the kids, and wants to work for Armando, wants to keep moving along this avenue because she likes him. But anyway, she has this thing about, I'm going to watch the kids. You have quality time, stay alone. And he doesn't really want to be alone. But anyway, it works out. And there's all sorts of just awkward, nerdy stuff happening as they debate all of this with like the other parents. There's a Tinder comment about getting smashed. There's like the nerdy white dude. There's like the Asian lady. I don't know. It's just, it's basically it's I want to have me time versus should I be going on vacation with my family. And there's this crossing guard that's played for a shtick, or at least some sort of effort at a life lesson later on with the crossing guard Lenore, and she's basically like retired or something, and then she comes back and she just works there for free. It's not really a paying job or something like that. So there are some moments that they have good lines that don't necessarily always translate well to screen. Like the one guy's making these comments about Sonny staying at home and don't you want to go to a strip club? And he's like, no. He's like, so you've been relegated to, jerking off in the watery prison of your shower, and your family's always around. You deserve, to do what you want to do. These are the wars that we fight. It's just, it seemed like it worked well on paper. The execution was just like, okay. I think I chuckle at moments like this, like it's okay. Anyway, so they separate and go on their own way. And reality is he's home alone. He's dancing around, stripping off his clothes to Seal. He goes to the room, pops open the laptop. Of course, the kids forgot something, and they come walking in first. And it's like, oh gosh. They talk about going out and, he's trying to play golf. There's this wasted time on this golf sequence. He's trying to do all these things he thinks would make him happy. None of it's making him happy. He ends up into like this foursome. He's the lone guy with three old ladies who basically are just, they're phenomenal. So that, because he sounds off about making a bunch of money on them or whatever. Let's see, where am I at? Let me find some notes. Okay, so Huck's having this party, and he decides to participate. Shows up, everybody's naked. They're in the water naked, and they're gonna go on this bus because all of his birthday stuff is like way over the top. It's exponentially insane. But reality is he doesn't really know much about Huck anymore. Everything has changed, and he has a new job. He's hanging with all these people, and there's a lot of allusions and talking about when Sonny was younger. He was like Mr. Music Guy and doing CDs because you're supposed to care. I never ever cared. I just like, can we just keep moving? Just keep moving. Everything is just so bogged down and heavy, whereas a comedy needs to be really, really tight and lean so that the jokes can just keep moving. That way, if you have a joke that may not work for somebody, the next joke does. You just kind of keep things moving, right? And instead of it's a lot more of like physical comedy mixed in with these massive moments. So it's just like moment to moment, but it's not things that you ever care about like at all. So they end up out in the desert in this little Burning Man thing, right? It's basically like a tribute party for Mark Wahlberg's character. And, we're not going to actually have food here. We're just going to forage for food. It's like, what? You have all this party stuff going on, all this alcohol, and you're going to have everybody poop in a bucket? I don't know why they think this would be funny. Anyway, it's doubled down on this joke because he's going to go onto this. He's going to climb up on this mountain ridge area, this little cliff area, and poop in the bucket. And of course, there's a mountain lion. A horribly CGI mountain lion attacks him. He ultimately stabs it with an EpiPen, and then that's how he gets his nickname, Big Dog. So I feel like they wanted to call him Big Dog so they can make Big Dog references in the movie. He wants to feel like a big dog, and this was their solution, was to have, Big Cat versus Big Dog or something. It doesn't work like at all. He's dramatically hurt. There's like this massive wound on his back, and everyone's like, it's okay, we'll clean it up. It's like, I don't know. I'm just having a hard time even taking things seriously that they're trying to go for. Like I said, you may chuckle along the way. There's just so little here that's even remotely interesting. John Amos. Okay, so let me get to that scene. So the wife, Maya, is playing with the kids, and so when Sonny calls, he eventually gets a cell signal up on this cliff, and that's how they find out about Armando. He has showed up in a seaplane to wherever they were, and they're with her parents. So she didn't really go out alone with the kids for mommy time. She went to her family's house, and they're watching the kids too. Anyway, John Amos from Good Times, of course. I love John Amos. He's been in millions of other things. So anyway, long story short, they end up at a bickering fight, and then John Amos jumps on the phone and starts lecturing him, and it's amusing. And Mom wants to write like a novel, like a pornographic novel, a sex novel of some kind. That's a joke as too. Anyway, Huck is surprised because his Asian shakedown guy, he owes this guy like $47,000. He's this little Asian Weasley guy named Stan, and his assistant is like this like Russian/German lady. She's named Dorit, and they're going to enact violence. That's how we're going to do it. We're going to enact some violence. We actually, I think, say that. Instead of just doing it, they discuss, well, we have to enact violence. You won't take it seriously. You don't understand. We have to do these things. Anyway, long story short, they break Sonny's fingers instead of Huck's because it's like, oh, I'll take care of it. I'll take care of it. I think, and Huck admits that he was fired. And it's like, I'm like, we're in like a really bad version of Daddy's Home or something. It's so badly done that Mark Wahlberg's character is just so interchangeably bad in this movie. He's playing the exact same guy without any of the substance or any of the backstory. Like, at least in the movies, you had one movie that gave you backstory and development. The second movie is more backstory with his dad and the family, and then it moves forward again. Anyway, I don't understand where they get the idea, because there's a big fire and everyone leaves, and these two knuckleheads stay behind to, quote, rescue. I didn't think we had food, but suddenly there's all these oysters. They were hunting for food in the earlier scene, but now there's oysters that they have to rescue so they can drive around with this Uber driver. And they convince her to take them to Armando's, I guess they know where Armando lives, and they're going to turn his tortoise loose. They're going to mess up the house. He claims he's going to poop in the bed, pull an Amber Heard, and he leaves like a little tiny thing because he hasn't been eating anything. And anyway, pee in the pool, all these shenanigans, right? I don't know, whatever. So they move the party to his house. So the party's going to go to Sonny's house. They run over the tortoise. This is all being filmed, of course, and Armando finds out. And we kind of move back and forth where, and their idea of jokes are, at one point, his friend, the crazy, obnoxious parent guy, is like, he's there at this party with all these people. And he looks like he's supposed to be like he's snorting cocaine. But he's like, no, it's my son's ADD meds. I do this all the time. Right. And it's like, what on earth are you talking about? Anyway, Huck, who, again, he's this lunatic who doesn't have money, has this big surprise for Kevin Hart's character, and it's Seal. So Seal's going to show up to sing, and basically Huck writes him a check, and you start to realize that, Sonny had offered to pay off Stan's debt, but this guy is completely insane. It's all completely insane. So the kids think the turtle was killed or attacked or whatever, because the family flies home with Armando, who's crying at one point. All the craziness at the party, all these adults gone wild, basically. And they had destroyed like the kids' toy. Like they're building a Star Wars Lego Death Star together, and they broke the toy. Everything's a mess for this guy. And they leave, but they tell him to get out, basically. So long story short, because that's how I feel. It's like this tedious comedy. I say long story short because it seems like it's a whole bunch of stuff thrown against the wall, and no one spent time to revise. There's no script doctors at Netflix. There's none. Everybody thinks when they buy a script, they're not allowed to fix it or improve it or tighten it, make it even better. Because the backstory has to come together with this talent show. And there's a couple of moments with the talent show where, you think Sonny would be like this encouraging of other kids and whatever. No, he's a complete a-hole, right? There's this kid singing Hallelujah, and it's the montage of all this nonsense that's been going on, that Maya can't hold it together. Huck's plan, this was so stupid. So his plan, he loans the $47,000 because Sonny pays the debt. And he had talked about how he was going to use the money to buy a new minivan, because the minivan is another joke where the doors don't open. Haha, got it. Doors don't open on a minivan. But that's funny. You'd get rid of that minivan in a heartbeat. If you ever had kids and had to get in and out of it, or by the way, there would be another door on the other side. One of the two until you could get it fixed. He's going to buy a Honda Odyssey. I guess it's supposed to be a product placement / sponsorship, because it's name dropped like 6 times in this movie. And Huck's plan is to pay his friend to use his 4-wheel drive, monster truck to drive over the minivan and destroy it and then drive away. They can file an insurance claim. Well, during this montage, you see that actually worked out. He got his Honda Odyssey. Anyway, you see all this nonsense. There's comments about Huck. He's not really being respected by all these people that show up at his party. Armando actually has a super, super hot wife or girlfriend or something. So when Kevin Hart's character shows up, it's like, oh, it all becomes clear that he's just a jackwagon. Anyway, so the little dude, little Hallelujah kid, is like, he's attacked because Sonny's still a jerk, right? And we're going to have this crazy talent show. So we have to resolve like crossing Lenore's story, because she's basically not some crazy old woman doing this. She's actually a former FBI agent who travels with her husband. And the son comes out, and the son is, of course, like going to close a talent show. It's a big deal, right? And all the story and all the stuff that's been done about, oh, you got to be practicing on your piano for this. And it's like, no, I want to be a comedian. And he's basically just going around the room, just being shamed by everybody in the comedy routine. Shame his dad, shame his dad's friend. And Maya just makes amends. Maya apologized because Sonny says he was a jerk, basically. So there's all this nonsense that kind of wraps it all up. None of this really matters too much. I'm not going to keep you reading my notes. Because they go back on the boat where Huck's actually working because he quit the job, and who cares? Here's the thing: the movie is life had been better if this movie had not been made. There's so many movies probably on Netflix that you should just watch and not waste your time with this nonsense. The director has done well and stuff in the past, so it's frustrating that this was such a crappy film. Anyway, the one highlight of the whole movie is this freaking Uber driver actress. I didn't even get her name. I'm not gonna look it up. Anyway, she's great. She needs to be in something else. She was funny. She, how they have all the shtick about we need to have less attractive, not the stereotypical Hollywood characters, whatever. She just looks like some lady driving an Uber. She's hysterical. She's over the top. She's fun. All the way through the movie. She's the best part of the movie by far. She made the other two look like they've never done comedy before ever in their lives. That's how good she is. But this movie was a complete waste of time. I'm talking like, it's down there in like that 3/4 category of just complete waste for a few chuckles and maybe a couple laughs. It's overwrought with so many little subplots and so many little things happening, whatever. We can't just have there's no line of what we're trying to accomplish. And then when we do, we have this massive setback where, the family throws him out or whatever. It's just so much of that was unnecessary. It was too much. And it was also so cliche. It's been done a million times better. So anyway, that's my Me Too review. Wish I could tell you it was good. It is not. All right. Let me put a smile on your face. I'm Pops. Thank you so much for watching. I like to do like a lot of reviews and live stream stuff like that. So if you enjoy any of the content, feel free to consider subscribing and spending time with me. I appreciate it. Suggestions for the reviews are always also welcome. I appreciate that as well. Anyway, try to go out there and have fun today. Make tomorrow a little better than today, and be blessed. I'm Pops.